Now let's talk about the strategy of website acquisitions. We briefly touched on this way back in phase one. I was telling you about this very, very powerful model. Let's go into it. Talk about buying other websites. Do you know the fastest way to a number one ranking in Google for any keyword in the world? And of course, it's obvious what the answer to this is. It's funny. I was sitting at a conference once, many years ago, probably 10 years ago, with a bunch of search engine optimization experts. And they had a bunch of people crowded around them listening to every word they were saying about how to, trick Google or how to do the latest method for getting ranked high and how they could get, sites ranked fast. And there was a crowd of people, probably 50, crowded around them in the lobby during, this was one evening during a conference I was at. And I heard them all. There was three of them. They were kind of arguing with each other, like who's best, who's the best of them for getting stuff ranked in Google and who could get something ranked the fastest. And they said, hey, we should have a contest. Or I think somebody in the crowd said that. Let's have a contest. We should, see who can rank the fastest and get the number one ranking for a certain keyword. And then the SEO experts would get a prize, whoever got there first. And I overheard this and I was listening and I said, hey, I'd like to play too. I would like to enter myself into the contest. And they said, oh, we know you know a lot about marketing stuff, but, SEO isn't necessarily your thing. Because to be an SEO expert, it's almost a full-time job. It changes so much. You really got to just really focus only on that. And I said, no, I don't know much about the latest secret this week of getting ranked in Google, or at least, anybody can get ranked in Google, but getting number one for competitive keywords is very difficult. But I said, I'd like to play too. And so they were like, okay. And I said, I'd also be willing to bet and guarantee that I will win. And so it was a funny conversation. And ultimately, I say, well, let me let you in on a little secret. And for everyone else here listening, I was like, the fastest way to a number one ranking in Google for any keyword is to simply buy the website that has the number one ranking. And this funny kind of hush came over the crowd, and then everyone kind of like started clapping a little bit. But it's true. Another way to play the Google ranking SEO game that everyone, puts so much importance on sometime, which it's not always important. You'll see with this emulation process and from your own research, a lot of people are doing millions in sales. They don't even mess with SEO. They just buy the traffic because it's easier. But another option for generating more traffic in your business is to do site acquisitions, is to find people that are ranked for certain terms and they're getting good traffic and just trying to buy those sites. So let's talk about that. So I just said the answer was to buy the website ranked number one. It's true. Now, you need to carefully monitor your analytics to find potential acquisition targets. I mentioned this before when I briefly talked about this method of buying sites and this client that I had helped go from 3-4 million a year to like over 20 million a year and helping them buy up sites. That's exactly what the strategy was. One of the best things to do is monitor content network sites that are sending you profitable traffic. You can see the URLs and the data of where the traffic is coming from and also track the sales to that traffic source. Well, if you find one that's consistently sending you a lot of sales, then what you can do is you go to them direct, you try to see if you can buy other advertising on their site or negotiate a better rate than what they're getting, through the AdSense program, which is typically what drives those content ads in their site. But outside of trying to do different rates, just simply say how much to put a banner on top of your site, or I'd like to put a banner on the side of your site, and work out something with them and start driving traffic from them. Now, if that traffic is still profitable, which it should be, unless they charge you a ridiculous amount for that traffic, and they're sending you a lot of sales. Let's say they're sending you $300 in sales a day, and they're getting, half of that. So they're making good money, and you're making good money. So you're making about $9,000 a month in sales. They're making about $4,500 a month in commissions. Well, it's possibly in your best interest to see if you can buy their website. Now, you already know that they're making really good money. I'm sorry, let's back up for a second. I kind of spoke too soon. Those numbers I gave was if they were an affiliate of yours. So that's always an option if someone is your affiliate and doing really, really well. But a lot of the targets that you'll find aren't necessarily affiliates. And in fact, you can get a better deal if it is from the content network. I'm sorry, I was trying to talk about two different things at once there. So if they're getting paid, but the content network, They're typically getting paid 70 to 80% of the click value, and Google's taking the rest. And so if you're just paying, 50 cents a click and they're sending X number of clicks a day, so they may be making $50 a day from your ads, and you're maybe making $300 a day because it's converting very well. Well, you're making $9,000 a month in revenue. They're making, like $1,500 a month from the $50 a day. Well, it's in your best interest, if they're sending you the consistent traffic and sales, to look into their business more. Really try to figure out how much traffic they have. You already know how to do that with what we've covered. Try to figure out maybe what their income is. And, if they don't sell their own products, they're only kind of running AdSense ads, maybe they have a few affiliate ads, you can kind of guesstimate at least a little bit of what kind of money they're making. Well, go to them and see if you can buy their website. Many people, so many marketers online have many websites. Like that one site in this example, that may be one site of 20 this person has. So if they could get paid up front in a large lump sum to sell the site, they may rather do that than even mess with the site anymore. They'll just take the money and go build other sites. So something to think about there and how it relates to their income. Well, now we're getting to also keep an eye on affiliate sites that are driving steady traffic and sales. Now, you can do the cheaper deals if people aren't affiliates, if they're not one of your affiliates, because then they don't really know how much you're generating off their promotion. If they're just doing it through Content Network, they don't know how well your traffic converts and what it actually equals as far as money. But many deals are waiting to happen on the internet. Sites are being sold all the time. Most of the sites being sold are when people, they say, hey, I would like to sell my site, and they go and list it on one of these website for sale sites, or eBay has a section for it. I forget what the most popular ones are now. I think Flippa, Flippa. So flippa.com is a site where people sell websites. But just because someone doesn't have a site listed doesn't mean they'd sell it. So there are many deals waiting to be happening if you just approach them. So here's what I recommend that works typically well. Email them, of course, from a different email account if you've ever corresponded with them before, and of course, a different name possibly, maybe your partner's name that you have, or somebody where they don't know that it's your business approaching them. And you basically say, hi, I've come upon your site. I really like it. I'm thinking about building a network of sites in this niche. Are there any terms and conditions under which you'd consider selling your website at, and then whatever the domain name is, www.dogsecrets.com. So, and then you just say, please let me know. I'm potentially a serious buyer who would be, possibly willing to acquire your website. Well, almost anyone would come back and say, of course, I would be willing to sell my website for the right price. So you start getting the ball rolling there, and then you can ask them, well, what initial price would you have in mind that you'd be willing to sell it for? And then they throw out a price. So I'd sell it for $50,000. And then you say, well, that's a lot of money, but what kind of money are you making from the site? What is your income that you make from the site currently each month? I would need to know, more about your statistics. So what kind of visitors are you doing? Well, what kind of whatever. And so once you start dialing in on how they're doing, then you can really start dialing in on an offer price. So many deals are being done for buying websites at 1 to 5 times annual income. So if you find someone that has a site, usually they're these content sites, and they're making, let's say, $20,000 a year in income from that site. They make a little less than $2,000 a month. But if they show you, hey, here's my proof. Last 12 months, I've made $20,000. And that's about where I'm at each month moving forward, if that's what the current monthly rate averages out to. Well, a lot of those people, many people would be willing to sell it for just a year's worth. You say, hey, I'll give you $20,000 right now to buy your site. So they don't have to wait another year to get the $20,000. They could take the $20,000 and go spend it however they want, or go build another site. For some people, that won't be enough, but maybe they'll take 2 times. So 2 years worth. They say, well, I'd be willing to pay you $40,000 to buy your website. And, they'd be willing to just go ahead and sell it for 2 years worth of income. So, and some deals are done for as much as 5 times or even more based on growth potential. But typically 1 time to 1.5 times is kind of how deals are being done. But you can get cheaper deals then 1x. I've seen deals with 5 or 6 months trailing revenue. So if someone's doing $1,000 a month, they'll go ahead and sell you the site today for $6,000. All kinds of deals like that are being done. So you carefully want to test running a display ad on their site and not just go by the content network data. So if you do find a site that's in the content network, ask, and you do email them and say, would you be interested in selling your site? Say, well, let me run a test ad on your site, and I'll even pay you per click for any traffic you send, and make it something reasonable to what the content network was, or let them set the price. And test that for at least a week or so and kind of gauge the response. If it still converts just as well, it's doing very well, then you can kind of, and especially if it's still running content network for you as well, then you can kind of see if the display ad took away most of the sales from the content network, or if it simply added that many more sales. And then you can start to realize, hey, if I own the site, I put ads all over it for my own stuff, if I integrated my own product recommendations like in the content and did those kinds of things, or sponsored all the blog posts with my product ads, how much kind of could I make? And the odds are you're going to be able to make, if you have your own product, this is another reason to have your own product. People that sell their own product and aren't just affiliate marketers always make more money, almost in every case, because you make 100% of the sale. You're at higher margins. The affiliate typically makes 50% or 30% or 20% commission. So you're making the bulk of the money. And if you had your own traffic source, like if you own the site, you make 100%, especially if it's a digital product. You're making 100% return. So you can typically turn a site into more money than they can. And it's already being proven because it's generating sites for your business. This is why you want to consider doing these deals. So last but not least, of course, you got to be very careful with your due diligence before you finalize an agreement to buy a site. Of course, you want to get contact an attorney to draft you up just a basic purchase agreement for the transaction. But you really want to analyze the past probably 12 to 24 months of traffic and revenue per month, as well as all the costs and labor that they use to maintain the site. Some sites don't take any labor. They may have a bunch of pages already indexed in Google. They don't even do any more work. It does what it does. And by the way, with that in mind, you can always take a site and improve on it. Hire some writers to make more blog posts. If they're only making 1 blog post a day or a week, do 3 a day or 10 a week. Do more than what they do. Step up the pace. You already have the advantage if you buy the site that has what they call link juice. It's already ranking well in Google because it's already generating traffic. So the more pages you create, it's an exponential effect of the traffic it will create. So you could just, and the other thing is too, if you buy a site, just keep running this, do AdSense as well. Do what they do to, at a minimum, generate the same income they were making. If they're making $1,000 a month with the site and you buy it from them, run the same ads. Do exactly what they were doing. Just obviously, of course, set up your own accounts for those affiliate programs that they're using or for AdSense in the content network. So at a minimum, you're going to make $1,000 a month just like they were. Of course, unless something happens and the traffic crashes, which hopefully it won't. But do the same thing to start with. So you're making what they were making. You start getting back your money that you bought the site for. But start adding to it. Start adding some other ads and things to promote your own products. Start tweaking it. Start taking down some of the other ads if you can make more money promoting other things or running more ads for your product, and start working to up the income. But you start at exactly what they were making. That's the worst case scenario, is you start at what they were making and then you improve it. That's why it's such a great opportunity to buy sites. I really believe this is the next billion-dollar opportunity on the internet for companies, is buying up sites that have already put in the work to get ranked in Google, that have already, got the footprint out there, got the authority out there, got the link juice out there. So it's so much easier to take something, and this is always an important business lesson. It's so much easier to take something that's already making money to make it make more money than to start something from scratch. So it's better to buy a site that's kind of already getting rankings, traffic, and making a little bit of money than is to start building your own from scratch to try to get search engine rankings and to make money and build authority. So again, this all depends on your budget. If you don't have a big budget to start with, well, then you have to wait till your business starts making money. But if you build a business, it starts generating profit, you're doing well, it's making good money, Start reinvesting in your business by buying up sites. I'm telling you right now, it's one of the best ways and probably the fastest way to grow your business and grow your income from it. But be careful with your due diligence. You really want to make sure that you know what goes into maintain the site, what their server costs are, what all their costs are. So you really dial in on what the net income is and what the potential is. If the site's only like 2 or 3 months old, be very wary because the traffic numbers could die. Some of these guys that sell sites on Flippa and these other for sale marketplaces for websites, they manipulate the stats. You got to be very careful of that. They could be running a bunch of ads that they're paying for to drive the traffic and making it look like, it's just getting a bunch of organic traffic. And then once you buy the site, they stop running the ads. The site gets zero traffic. So always be very careful to do your due diligence and really look into. Ideally, you don't want to buy a site that hasn't been online for at least 6 to 8 months at a minimum and getting good traffic for those 6 months. You don't want a site that's only gotten a lot of traffic for like 2 months. You want to make sure it's been around at least with well seasoned in the Google index for generating good traffic. But anyways, consider site acquisitions. Awesome way to build a business, make a lot of money. Even if you have an existing business that's doing well and you're taking this Spy for Profit course because you want to get into new opportunities, think about doing site acquisitions for your existing business along with doing other things for new projects. But again, great way to grow a business fast and to really expand. And I think this is the future frontier of digital marketing. It's like the real estate game of just buying up properties, buying up land. It's the same thing, but it's a game of virtual real estate. And there are a lot of tremendous opportunities out there waiting for you, deals for you. And you can buy, this is just kind of a bonus lesson for you here. You can buy some of these sites. They make $1,000 a month. You can improve them. You could hire some outsourcers. You could get more content being made. You could do better research on what keywords competitors are getting published for, the traffic for. You could start doing more blog posts, more interlinking, doing some things, getting it to grow, getting it to make more money. And then you can sell the site for far more than you bought it for. It's basically like flipping houses. It's like buying a rundown house, fixing it up, selling it for more. You can do the same thing with websites using this exact same model. So hopefully those are a lot of ideas for you and ways that you can think about using site acquisitions to make more money.